Well, it is Tuesday again, and that means I am cooking in the kitchen. Today, I'm actually not really cooking. I am actually just going to do a prep. I'm hosting a program this Sunday, which is all about prepping for the entire week. And one of the things that we will be making is an apple butternut squash hash. And in order to do that, we need to cut up this little guy, our butternut squash. It's sometimes a little tricky to cut up a butternut squash, even though butternut squash is delicious. It's a wonderful ingredient to have. A lot of people are kind of a little bit intimidated to use it because they're not quite sure how to peel it and how to cut it. So that's what we're going to do today. Something that's really, once you know how to do it, is pretty quick and easy. And all it takes is buying a butternut squash, having a good sharp knife, or, because we'll use both, a peeler, one of your standard peelers. So the first thing to do when you get a butternut squash is to cut off the top and the bottom. You'll find that the flesh of the squash is a little bit sticky, so you might find that your utensils tend to stick to it as you're working, but we'll get around that, and I'll show you how to do that. Let me just do a little adjustment here. Make sure you can see. That's good. So you'll find that with a butternut squash, there's a narrow neck and then a bulb at the end. The bulb is where the seeds are hiding. I'm going to cut off the neck of this, and then we'll deal with the bulb end separately. So there's a couple of things that you can do to peel this. All right, you can see that there's a outer, harder layer that we want to get rid of. One way to do this is to take your peeler and just peel around the neck portion, just like so. Now, you can do that, or you can take a sharp knife, and I like to take it from the top and just cut right down. You'll find if you do this that you might take off a little bit more of the flesh. So you might prefer to do the peeler. Either way works great. So we're just going to go around. Now, another thing too is if you don't like the idea of cutting down this entire neck, what you can do is cut your neck in small rounds. This is probably about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then using your knife, go around the edge and just chop like so. This is nice, easy. This knife is nice and sharp. It'll depend on the utensil that you have as well, whether you like to do it this way or whether you prefer to do it with the peeler. All right, so here we have our neck that's all peeled all around. Let me just get our pieces out of the way here. And then depending on the recipe you're making, whether it wants a 1-inch dice, a 1/2 inch dice, or something like that, you'll cut your neck in rounds. And you can see how it's sticking to this knife as I cut. And I'll show you a couple different things that you can do. You can make these into French fry type slices by just slicing up the round and going around. So you have them just like so. Or you can take that round that you just sliced, turn it 90 degrees, and cut again through the pieces so that you get a nice dice. And then depending on, as I said, on the recipe, how big the dice you want, you can cut your slices either thinner or larger, or you can slice more, make more slices this way. I tend to put, let's see, I'm doing 5 on this one, and then I'm turning it, and I will do 5 again. The reason being that I'm doing a smaller dice on this one, because the smaller the dice you do, the quicker your squash will cook. So when I'm looking at this, this is about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and that's about as large as we're going to use for our hash. So you just continue to slice up your squash neck the same way. Now, what you can do is stack 2 on top of each other and do 2 at a time, which will speed up the process a little bit. You can see I'm holding on to it because it is so sticky. Turned it 90 degrees and sliced through it again. All right, let me grab a bowl and we can add in all of our cubes right there. Now, we still have our bulb end, which has the seeds. So what I'm going to do, cut it in half, just like so. And what I like to use for this is a scoop, an ice cream scoop, because it has a nice sharp edge, and I can just get in there and take out those seeds. You can use a spoon for this. A big tablespoon works well. I like to save my seeds because I roast them afterwards, much like pumpkin seeds. They taste just as good. These tend to be a little bit smaller, but have a wonderful flavor. So, let's see. I'm not usually too picky on getting a lot of the inner kind of meat that's in there. Just kind of clean it up like this. And again, I'm going to take my knife, and this time I'm going to go around and just follow the contour of the bulb. Or you can take your peeler and do the same thing, going all the way around. This time we'll do it with the peeler, just to show you the difference. Now, sometimes with the peeler, if you don't get enough, you might want to go over it again, just to make sure you're down to the real colorful flesh of the squash. All right, I'm going to do the same with this half. Just come in and scrape. Whoops. All right. Clean that out. Like I said, I just want to get the seeds out of there. All right. Sweep these to the side. And again, I'm going to use the peeler to peel the outer portion. And the way you do it is up to you, your preference, and again, how sharp your utensils are. You may not have a nice sharp knife to do this. You can see I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth just to get it through. But I'm getting a nice clean surface here by doing it this way as well. And if you're not as comfortable with a sharp knife, this might be the best way for you to do it. Now, we have sort of a semicircular piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice down again, much the way I did on the neck of that squash. All right? So that I have these slices here. Turn it sideways. And I'm going to take 3 at a time. You can take 1 at a time if you'd like. but just going to cut down in those 1/2 inch pieces. There we go. There you have it. And I'm going to add those back in. Slicing this one a little bit more like I did the neck. And very final. So I'm thinking this was probably about a 2-pound squash. I'm probably getting about 4 cups. And pieces are always a little irregular. All right, and there you have it. So we had our 2-pound squash. We now have about 3 to 4 cups of cut up butternut squash ready to put into our skillet and make some apple hash. So hope you try this. Let me know if it works for you. If you have a different technique that you would like to share, please let me know, and I will share it with everybody else. Until then, stay well, stay safe, eat well, and I will see you either Sunday night for my Reset Your Diet and Get Back into Your Skinny Jeans program. Details are in the comment section. Or I will see you next Tuesday right here in my kitchen. See you soon. Bye-bye now.